and something he did right. And rumors were going around for months. Mariah, she even stated that she was on vacation, guys, relax. And I guess she wasn't capping because she was on vacation, and she and vacation officially over last night on Tuesday. So we have the debut of, as of now, she's still Mariah May in NXT.
Man, I love that girl. I love that character. She has not done a single thing wrong. I don't know about all the Storm stuff, but since her debut in Jacksonville, she's not done one thing wrong. And I'll tell you what, I liked Ricky Starks way longer than I liked her. I loved him, saw his indie stuff, saw him debut in NWA, saw him won the national title, saw it go vacant. He shows up TNT Open Challenge. Love the guy. Ricky Saints, name change, don't love it, but I can live with it. Mariah May should be Mariah May forever. That name is awesome. She's built a strong character. I'll argue this too about her. And it's funny because she's arguably, I brought up because I loved, and I haven't rewatched it. I do want to rewatch like the media scrum after Double or Nothing, because I want to see like more Hangman talking with that Owen belt. He made a claim about, like, he came out with the championship last week. Mariah May, and that heel moment when she won the championship and she gets the belt, Tony comes to celebrate with her and like that turns heel. I arguably think she's done more for that Owen championship, that tournament, than anyone else. I think it's the greatest moment in that tournament's history, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's probably one of the biggest turns, and maybe not just AEW history, because it was immediate. There was no like hesitation. It's
like you knew
it was just like that.
You didn't think it was gonna be right then.
Yeah, no doubt. And the thing about Mariah May is, it's interesting because, you know, like if you follow him on IG, the Wrestling Classic, on his feed every other day was probably something of Mariah May, and then it's like, okay, the buzz behind, we all know her face. So when we see she's going to AEW, we saw her work in Japan a bit. When we see she signed with AEW, it's like, oh, she got her break, and then she goes on AEW and absolutely knocks it out the park.
You know, it's wild that I think I saw on his page today that I had no idea about. Let's see if this is right here, handy. So obviously, I think she debuted in 21 in AEW.
Oh, on an episode of Dark?
I'm sure that's probably where she did. Most people do. This don't be way off. Well, apparently, pre-COVID, I'm sure she probably was wrestling, but obviously it was independence or, you know, internationally.
Because the thing about Mariah May, in that short time, in that feud with Tony Storm, that's the best thing AEW's ever done. It really was. Well, it was told perfect.
Apparently during COVID, she was or pre-COVID, 2019 or something, she was a WWE shop influencer.
I
looked at the picture.
I did see him
post
like,
that. Why do I kind of recognize this?
Yeah, because I do remember seeing that. I do remember seeing him post that today. But like I said, Mariah May, I think her feud with Tony Storm was probably the best thing AEW's ever done, the best story they ever told. And the matches were fantastic. We'll talk about the match that they had at the end of the year 100%. Because that match was awesome. And we didn't get to do a Maddie's last year, but Mariah May, she was my breakout of the year. She was not my women's star of the year. That would have went to Roxy, because after the Tony Storm stuff, we didn't really have much to go off of with Mariah May. But I'm looking forward to seeing her in NXT. I thought she debuted in a good way. You know, I think the segment was a little rushed because JC was cooking. And by the way, she looks amazing with that title on her waist. But I think like all the entrances, like I don't know if they're showing time, but everybody just kept coming out. And then you panned to Mariah May. And I thought it was fantastic. I'm looking forward to what she does in NXT. Because like in that short amount of time, me, myself, and a bunch of others, I was super impressed. and became a fan
So-
instantly.
Tell you what, I wish I recalled this better, but last week I remember like thinking about NXT and like, a lot of the stuff with the crossover. And when, like I mentioned, I was going to sleep and I was like, was downstairs, Stephanie Vicaire, the entrance starts, the match starts. I was like, she's going over, she's retaining, it doesn't matter. Go to sleep, wake up, and see it on the ground. I'm like, you're kidding me. She like, and I see how it happens. It's like, okay, cool, this makes sense. But I was surprised. I was like, NXT really got to see. And I've been thinking about all this TNA crossover stuff. I really got to do a better job watching it. Well, I forgot the YouTube TV account or the living room to set the recording for it. And I was upstairs watching Entourage, and I'm sitting there, and I open Instagram, and I see Mariah debuted. I was like, oh, my God. So I tried flipping, and it didn't have the recording set. So I pulled it up on my phone, which I have NXT recorded on, restarted the episode. Episode fire. I thought it was so cool. They had all the stuff of the LFG guys. They had the Evolve, some people from the roster, involved from Evolve. And then not just that, they also had them at least doing backstage promos talking about, like, you see all those girls challenging for that belt. Which one of you guys are going to step up for mine for the women's Evolve championship? And then again, as a Mariah fan, like seeing, like, I'm like, man, like, oh, she's going to be the first person coming out. I don't know that first girl that came out through the crowd, like challenging Chasey, but then they go to everyone at the stage and they're all names. And I'm like, man. Then by the time like Jada came out, then Lash Legend, she didn't even get her music. I was like, she didn't get her music. They're probably getting it ready for Mariah. Then there's like, the thing, it hits. And I'm like, but I'm waiting. They never say the name. I'm like, they're doing it to us again. Hopefully they play me and they're like, they show that, I don't know. They cannot tell you the name and then you get it. But I feel like Ethan Page, they gave us the name right away. They didn't with Lexus King. They didn't with Ricky Saints. And I just feel like I'm screwed.
Well, you just talked about that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I got to do a better job of watching NXT. I'm telling you, I'm going on 2-3 years of me never caring to really watch that show live. And that 2-hour show they put on yesterday was better than the 2.5-hour show I watched the day before.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that for a second because I think it's pretty unanimous when Vince got his hand